Drifting is almost like freestyle motocross or BMX or skateboarding with high horsepower cars. It's almost more comparable to figure skating than, ice racing. I would say unpredictable and individualism is a big part of drifting in terms of the cars and the builds, but it's essentially power sliding a car through a course, which is where the sport originated, or if the hobby originated in the late 80s, early 90s in Japan. But as time has gone on, it's become a very professional motorsport. It's FIA motorsport recognized. And it's basically the most exciting parts of all motorsports put into like bite-sized minute-long runs. So you've got all the tire smoke, you've got the crashes, you've got the high horsepower, the noise, the cars being close to each other, and it's a head-to-head. So more of a boxing match between two different drivers than it is a bunch of drivers on the track at the same time. So drifting was designed for spectating. It wasn't, if you have a big racetrack like Formula One, you might see one car pass your corner, and that's all you're really looking at the screen. Where in drifting, you're in one position, the track is only 2 or 3 corners, you can see all of it in front of you, so you don't miss one piece of the action from start to finish, which is very unique. Drifting, you can see everything play out in front of you, which is a totally different experience, and it's why it drags, from 10 to 20,000 people to Mondello to watch it.
That's incredible. So it's all about qualifying and podium places this weekend. Listen, good luck. Do you have nerves at this stage? Do you feel that build up now at this stage?
Yeah, every driver on the grid, it feels it and it's not so much of what you're doing. It is a very high risk, there's a lot of, at any moment you can crash, at any moment you can have a problem. But the biggest nerve is your competitors. This is the best lineup of drifters in the world. So every single driver has very little weakness, and they all feel the pressure of making one mistake and going home with all the logistical time and money that goes into these cars. And, when you're at that level, you want to win. Everyone wants to win, and everybody around you does the same. So I think the nerves comes in from how competitive it is rather than how scary it is. On the outside, it does look very scary, but in the car, you're quite controlled.
Sure.
But it is going to be a real fight between all of these amazing drivers who are literally, bringing cars that these are 1,000 horsepower. Every car that's there, it's able to go through a full set of tires in a minute and a half. These things are crazy. They run ethanol fuel. They're just like drag cars that go sideways. So tons of smoke, tons of action, lots of concrete walls that we have to get very close to without damaging our cars. And again, you're gonna see a lot of rivalries in that, of who's trying to win the championship. It's the middle round of the championship in Europe, and right now the Irish have a little bit of an advantage. So we're hoping a lot of people will come down, support it. And if you've never seen it before, I've never met a fan that's come to a drift event that hasn't been instantly hooked, because it's all the exciting parts of motorsport in just short bursts as opposed to a long day of seeing cars go around in circles. This is as exciting as it gets.
You mentioned Conor, your teammate, a few minutes ago, and he's now 17. But does he ever look at you and go, "Quiet, old man, I've got this"?
I think Connor and I complement each other quite well. So I have obviously drifting is a very expensive sport. You're using a lot of fuel, tires, transport. We'll do 20,000 kilometers with 2 Arctic trucks across Europe this year. So it's, without sponsors, without marketing, it's it's impossible for us to afford it. So I have kind of good experience in the marketing domain and the branding and the views, the clicks, the likes and the media. And Connor is that raw talent. So we're complementing each other. Connor's actually teaching me a lot about how to be a better drifter, and he's just 17.
It's magic.
And then I'm teaching him a little bit more about the business side of it and making a career of it. So we definitely have our strengths and our weaknesses, which is why I think it makes a good team.
What I love just talking to you for the last few minutes is the passion. It's so evident. Do you worry about weather, or does wet weather help you?
I mean, it'll happen either way. The reason we don't like rain is that it slows the speed. So basically, a tire, you don't see the smoke because of and also when the cars need the grip. So it's easier to slide around in the rain, but it's less, from my perspective. If you get a couple of showers, it actually makes it quite interesting because the track changes from dry to wet. Very, very dramatic. You might see some big upsets, of big drivers making mistakes. So it does shake it up a little bit with the weather. But I think what we're looking at this weekend is a spot of a shower here or two, but mostly nice and dry. And that's what we want for an event, is that, everyone's at maximum capacity, maximum speed, and we get to see all the excitement play out.
I have a really stupid question, right? And in modern cars where you don't have a pull-up handbrake, is it impossible to drift in something like that?
Look, if any car that's rear-wheel drive will drift given enough encouragement,
okay,
and enough lack of grip.
Okay,
but modern the cars that we run are, like, for example, my drift car is a 2023 Toyota Supra. The engine, however, the only thing that's standard in that car from the road car is the windscreen and the chassis. So everything
Wow.
else is complete. The whole body of the car is carbon Kevlar, the same material they make bulletproof vests out of, so it's durable. The engine is from a 1994 car, but every single piece, it's like Trigger's broom, every little piece is uprated and changed to
Yeah.
make it do what it does. So the
Yeah.
cars are completely custom built, and it's also amazing to think that some of these championship winning cars, these are cars that are faster than a Veyron or any production car in the world, are built in sheds in Ireland.
It's incredible.
So that
Yeah.
by guys in sheds building cars with 1,000 horsepower that can go and take on the best in Europe. So it's definitely not a standard car by any means. It's
Because
definitely built to do with purpose.
because you mentioned Connor there again. Was his dad was responsible for his engines and stuff like that in the past, wasn't he?
Connor's dad was a drifter for a very, very
Okay.
long time, and now he's decided that his son is too good that he doesn't want to compete anymore because
Okay.
he doesn't want to be beaten by his own 17-year-old son. But if you think about Connor, we always have a good joke of the fact that he handles a 1,000 horsepower car. He's top 10 in Europe at times, yet he's driving a 1 liter Polo on the road and just got his driving license.
That's
So it's
incredible.
he actually said that to me last week. We were doing something in Dublin, and he said to me, would he be able to come to my house because he was a bit nervous about driving through Dublin City, but yet he's able to throw a car sideways at 100 miles an hour, no problem at all.
Dave, on Radio Nova's Instagram page at Radio Nova 100, there's VIP passes for grabs to come along to Driftmasters. What sort of thing does that give a winner access to?
Number one, you actually get a covered grandstand. So, with the Irish weather, that's always a nice thing to have, that you've got a roof over your head. You've got a great viewing of the live screens that are there. And what the VIP access, I think, is the best part of it, is you actually get to go into the pits and you get to meet and greet with some of the drivers, see the cars up close and personal. Think of it like you get to walk along the pit lane when it's cold at Formula One. You get to go and see all the cars, the mechanics, the teams, the spare parts. That's a massively interactive experience that not everybody, and of course, you can only have so many people do that because otherwise the pits would be too
Sure.
busy. So it's a very, very unique experience to see these incredible machines up close and get to see, all the behind the scenes.